Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're gonna do a full-blown day of eating. I'm gonna show you a eating regime that I've designed roughly over the last 5 years that is tailored to optimize your brain power, to optimize your health, and is optimized in a way that is very easy and delicious to make, quite honestly. So without further ado, I wanna kick off with how I start my mornings with the first thing that I drink.
Okay, so I'm going to be walking you through a standard weekday of mine. Now, the first thing I do is usually wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning, head straight to the kitchen and prepare myself a glass of fresh water along with a pinch of Celtic sea salt and a scoop of creatine. Now, the reason for this is we spend about 8 hours sleeping, and throughout that time, we're not drinking a single thing. So when we usually wake up, we're very dehydrated, which is a major cause for just feeling brain fog and cognitively fatigued. And if you're about to work out, it means you'll perform at half as good as you could have done if you were, in fact, hydrated. So Celtic sea salt in particular is great at just replenishing your mineral supplies. And whether you regularly work out or not, creatine is incredible at ensuring that your brain has enough ATP, which is energy, to run throughout the day. But it's also great for using in your workouts. I can lift like so much more with creatine in my system. So I'll see that bad boy off, and then shortly after I will begin my first cup of tea for the day. I usually start with about 2 bags of white tea because it tastes delicious and it has just the right amount of caffeine that keeps me very level-headed but focused when I start my workday. Then I go straight to the dining room and eat absolutely nothing. This is something I covered in a previous video, which shows that fasting is one of the best hacks for staying productive and staying healthy as opposed to eating a bowl of cereal. When I come back from the gym, I typically have a decaf green tea and nettle tea combo. I like to drop the caffeine at this point so I stay nice, focused and level-headed. And you will see a theme throughout this video. I love tea. I think it's a game changer. When I eventually start work, usually about 10 a.m., I notice that I am very, very focused, very, very productive, and don't have any form of brain fog that I would have got if I'm digesting a big meal. So I typically get the most amount of work done during these 2 hours before lunchtime. So after a ridiculously productive morning, I do eventually eat at about 12 o'clock. And I like to start my days with something very low carb and high protein so that I'm not crashing later, but I'm recovering my muscle. Today that is omelettes with some smoked salmon and a few vegetables. And ladies and gentlemen, you are about to see live an absolute epic fail at me trying to one-hand flip an omelette that just didn't go to plan. Now, for my vegetables, it's typically just something like mushrooms and peppers. Just a great combo with this, and I whack on a massive amount of olive oil with all my dishes because it's been shown to increase lifespan and decrease inflammation, which is key, especially if you're working out a lot. Now, in regards to my general eating, I typically eat really clean. I try to avoid as much sugar as possible and as much gluten, and I try to eat as many whole foods as well, so things that aren't packaged and that you actually recognize as opposed to having a bunch of ingredients you don't know where it came from. So once I've had my lunch, I do eventually crack on with work again, at which I'll set myself up with a decaf coffee and a little bit of mushroom powder, in this case lion's mane. Now, lion's mane is a great nootropic. It genuinely feels like you just get a kick of cognitive energy, and I find it allows me to speak a lot better, which is critical in my role in sales. Whilst enjoying my beautiful cup of lion's mane and decaf coffee, which quite honestly doesn't taste the greatest, I then begin my second sprint of productive, focused work. And because of what I've eaten so far, I've kept it very low carb, very low caffeine, so my brain energy will just stay very, very stable, and I won't have any form of crash. And to be honest, I can usually work from about 12 to 2:30 uninterrupted because of the food that I put in my system. I think food is massively underlooked when it comes to productivity, so really recommend you guys trying out a few of these strategies when you're trying to get through a big productive work day. When 2:30 does eventually hit, I'll help myself to somewhat of a snack, which today is going to be some blueberries, which I'm going to condense over the hob. And I'm going to add that to a chia seed pudding, which I prepared a little earlier today, which very simply is just chia seeds with some protein shake and left to set overnight. You can just have it with simple almond milk or coconut milk instead and have the protein, but my choice. And then I add the two together. Now, the thing I love about this combination is that, once again, it's medium level carb. It's not going to be enough to kind of give you a blood sugar crash late in the day, but it's my first kind of introduction of protein, so that I'm providing the right kind of substrate for my gut so that my digestion is smooth. And the blueberries in of themselves are great for the brain. And then finally, I'll begin my last sprint of work, taking me from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, usually helping myself to yet another cup of tea. Typically around this time, I'm not the most productive, so I reserve it more for admin type tasks. 5 o'clock, dinner time finally arrives. My favorite part of the day. Today, I'm going to make a little bit of jerk chicken with some rice. And the reason for this combination is that I love to have all of my carbs pretty much in my last meal, so that I have enough energy to attack my gym workouts for the next morning. But I don't have to worry about those blood sugar spikes throughout the day if I was to have it at lunchtime or breakfast instead. Another benefit of having carbs quite late is that you're actually going to crash just before bed, so that you'll find it a lot easier to go to sleep. Now, this particular meal was delicious, actually. I wanted to dedicate 1 minute visuals to the jerk chicken marinade alone, because it's quite something, but I couldn't control myself, so I just pretty much ate it and saw it off in about 30 minutes. Now, what you probably realized is that my eating window is very short. I start eating at 12 and I stop eating around 5:30 when I finish my last meal. And I do that very purposefully because I fundamentally believe that intermittent fasting is great for your overall health. I found it great for my overall digestion and great for my productivity throughout the day. So I live by this.
Okay, so thank you for watching. I really hope this was a valuable video for you. Now, just a very short disclaimer. This entire eating regime is one that has been tailored for me and me only. It's based on somebody that's 6'6" tall, comes from Nigerian ancestry, and works out about 5 times a week, mostly strength training. And the reason I say this is that, like any diet in the world, there's not a silver bullet that works for everyone. You need to find out what works for you. And hopefully you can take some inspiration from what I just showed you, but ultimately it really comes down to how your body accepts certain foods and which you notice give you the most energy and performance throughout the day. And once again, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like the video so the YouTube algorithm recommends my content, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.